Casablanca, directed by Michael Curtis, is a romantic drama film released in 1942. The movie stars Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, and Paul Henreid. Set during World War II, it tells the story of an American expatriate, played by Bogart, who is torn between his love for a woman, portrayed by Bergman, and his duty to help her husband, a Czechoslovak resistance leader, escape from the Vichy-controlled city of Casablanca to continue fighting against the Germans. The screenplay is based on the unproduced stage play Everybody Comes to Rick's by Murray Burnett and Joan Allison. The film also features a talented supporting cast, including Claude Rains, Conrad Veidt, Sidney Greenstreet, Peter Lorre, and Dooley Wilson. In January 1942, Warner Brothers story editor Irene Diamond convinced producer Hal B. Wallace to acquire the film rights to the play. Initially, the Epstein brothers, Julius and Philip G., were tasked with writing the script. However, they left to work on Frank Capra's Why We Fight series shortly after due to resistance from the studio. Howard Koch took over the screenplay until the Epsteins returned a month later. Principal photography for the film took place from May 25 to August 3, 1942, entirely at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California, except for one sequence filmed at Van Nuys Airport in Los Angeles. Despite being an A-list film with renowned actors and talented writers, the creators of Casablanca did not anticipate its exceptional success among the multitude of movies produced by Hollywood each year. The film was hurriedly released to capitalize on the publicity generated by the Allied invasion of North Africa a few weeks prior. Its world premiere took place on November 26, 1942, in New York City, and it was subsequently released nationwide in the United States on January 23, 1943. During its initial run, Casablanca achieved solid but unremarkable success. However, defying all expectations, Casablanca went on to surpass all predictions by winning the prestigious Academy Award for Best Picture. Additionally, Michael Curtis was recognized as the Best Director, and the Epsteins and Koch were honored for their exceptional work on the Best Adapted Screenplay. Over time, the film's reputation has steadily grown, with its lead characters, unforgettable lines, and iconic theme song becoming ingrained in popular culture. As a result, Casablanca consistently ranks among the greatest films in history on numerous lists. In 1989, the United States Library of Congress acknowledged its cultural, historical, and aesthetic significance by selecting it as one of the first films for preservation in the National Film Registry. In December 1941, Rick Blaine, an American expatriate, was the owner of a nightclub and gambling den called Rick's Café Américain in Casablanca. This establishment attracted a diverse range of customers, including Vichy French and Nazi German officials, refugees desperate to reach the neutral United States, and individuals who took advantage of their vulnerability. Despite claiming to be neutral in all matters, Rick had a history of involvement in political conflicts. He had smuggled guns to Ethiopia in 1935 and fought on the Loyalist side during the Spanish Civil War. One day, a small-time criminal named Ugarte approached Rick and boasted about possessing letters of transit that he had obtained by murdering 2 German couriers. These letters allowed the holders to travel freely within German-occupied Europe and to neutral Portugal. Ugarte planned to sell them at Rick's club and convinced Rick to keep them safe for him. However, before Ugarte could meet his contact, he was arrested by the local police, led by the corrupt Captain Louis Renault. Unfortunately, Ugarte died in custody without revealing that Rick was in possession of the valuable letters. Soon after, Ilsa Lund, Rick's former lover, and the reason behind his cynical nature, unexpectedly entered his establishment. Upon seeing Sam, Rick's friend and the house pianist, Ilsa requested him to play As Time Goes By. This infuriated Rick, as he had explicitly forbidden Sam from performing that song again. To his astonishment, Rick discovered that Ilsa was accompanied by her husband, Victor Laszlo, a prominent Czechoslovak resistance leader who was on the run. Through a flashback, it was revealed that Ilsa had left Rick without any explanation when they had planned to escape together as the German army approached Paris. This betrayal had left Rick bitter and resentful. Now Laszlo and Ilsa desperately needed the letters of transit to escape, while a German major named Strasser arrived in Casablanca with the intention of preventing their escape. Signor Ferrari, an underworld figure and Rick's friendly business rival, reveals his suspicion to Laszlo that Rick possesses the letters. Laszlo decides to return to Rick's cafe that night in an attempt to purchase them. However, Rick refuses to sell and instead advises Laszlo to inquire about it with his wife. Their conversation is interrupted by Strasser, who leads a group of German officers in singing Die Wacht am Rhein. In a powerful act of defiance, Laszlo orders the house band to play La Marseillaise, which ignites a wave of French patriotism among the crowd, overpowering the German officers. As a result, Strasser manipulates Renault into closing the club on a flimsy pretext. Later on, Ilse confronts Rick in the empty cafe. Initially, she threatens him with a gun when he refuses to hand over the letters. However, she soon confesses her enduring love for him. Ilse explains that when they first met and fell in love in Paris in 1940, she believed her husband had died while attempting to escape from a concentration camp. However, she later discovered that Laszlo was alive and hiding near Paris. Ilse left Rick without any explanation to care for her ailing husband. Rick's bitterness towards her begins to fade away as he listens to her story. He agrees to assist her, leading her to believe that she can stay with him once Laszlo departs. Unexpectedly, Laszlo arrives, narrowly escaping a police raid on a resistance meeting. Rick instructs waiter Carl to discreetly escort Ilse away. Aware of Rick's love for Ilse, Laszlo tries to convince him to use the letters to ensure her safety. After Laszlo is falsely arrested by the police, Rick convinces Renault to release him by offering to frame Laszlo for a more serious crime involving possession of the letters. To throw off Renault's suspicions, Rick tells him that he and Ilse plan to use the letters to escape to America. However, when Renault tries to carry out the arrest, Rick intervenes at gunpoint and forces him to help them escape. In the end, Rick persuades Ilse to leave with Laszlo to Lisbon, warning her that staying would lead to regret in the future. With Strasser arriving and attempting to stop their departure, Rick ends up shooting him dead. Renault protects Rick by ordering the police to arrest the usual suspects, and then suggests they join the Free French in Brazzaville. As they walk away together into the fog, Rick expresses his belief that this marks the start of a promising friendship with Renault.